Barreling Rapids. This is essentially SPF Visa's take on a Wacky Worm model, though that does make it larger than a traditional SBF Visa Spinner. With strong forces on the drop and at other points throughout the ride, this offers a bit more than others in the genre. But does that make it do enough for me to get over my dislike of traditional SBF Visa spinners? Find out in this review. Although SBF Visa has been around since 1952, they seem to have only started making roller coasters since 1996, as that's when their oldest coaster in the roller coaster database, Den Allen Minster, at Tysonfrøy in Norway debuted. Then, they sparked a wildfire of coasters in 2014 when they debuted their spinning coaster around the globe, with the oldest operating installments in the United States being Crazy Coaster at Silverwood Theme Park and Metal Turtle at Pavilion Park. Although Siam Amazing Park markets their Boomerang as the most popular coaster in the world, Boomerangs only number in at 53 installations, whereas there have been over 130 installations of these coasters worldwide, with 71 versions of the classic MX608 Park Model A, which is found at San Antonio's Incredible Pizza. 22 MX609 3-loop models have been made, as well as a few more unique models, such as Alley Cat's Hearsts, that looks basically the same as the others. Or more particularly, ones with a hamster wheel, that are ultimately likely similar to the basic design of a figure-8 track with 4 spinning cars. The exception to this is the MX6112 version 5.0 model, which is what Barreling Rapids is. There are 7 of these coasters worldwide, including one in Indonesia. In short, it is a similar layout to a Wacky Worm coaster, just with SPF Visa spinning trains, which is a nice and welcome take on these types of coasters. Austin's Park, or sometimes Austin's Park and Pizza, is a family entertainment center that has been around since 2003. This park got on Coaster Enthusiast's map by adding Fiesta Express, which formerly operated at Cypress Gardens in Florida. In 2021, they decided to expand their indoor offerings, which included adding a second, larger family coaster in Barreling Rapids. This coaster is located on the side of a large arcade next to another thrilling family ride in Tower Drop. As for pricing, entering Austin's Park is free. You can pay per ride with Barreling Rapids, or you can purchase an all-day wristband for $45 with a $55 option that includes the buffet. So that I could get multiple laps on both coasters and experience the other attractions, I went ahead and got the $55 buffet option. FECs can get pricey, so it is a bit expensive for what it is. But I did really enjoy my time at this park, so it is likely worth the price just for the experience. The theming for this coaster is that you're going on whitewater rapids, but in some spinning barrels. The details of the cars, combined with the various light displays, make for a very nice visual. I'm just slightly disappointed that the floor and walls are plain, which does take away a bit from the overall theming of the coaster. Dispatches on this ride were relatively quick. Operators did rotate while I was at Austin's Park because it was very slow, but I normally didn't have to wait long for this coaster, as someone was likely in the area. And the ride was more popular than the adjacent Tower Drop, which normally shared its ride operator. They did ask guests to put up any loose articles that they had on them, but then you were free to choose the row that you wanted. With a big drop, most people will be tempted to ride in the very back if you're looking for thrills. My first ride, I got in the second to last car, and I think there was a bit more to the drop in that car. Like a Wacky Worm, a brake engages before you round the final turn, meaning that the last car will noticeably start to slow down before hitting the bottom of the drop. The first few cars did offer nice laterals on the various turns, though the final drop was noticeably milder in these seats. For those more scared of drops, though, it is nice to have this option of seating, and I suggest riding in as many rows as possible to find out which version of this coaster you like the best, as it will likely vary by rider preference and how each ride goes for you. This coaster starts off with a small pre-lift turn out of the station. Especially after going through the station on additional laps, you can get mild laterals towards the front of the train here, but you will be going too slow near the back to get any good forces. Then you climb a diagonal lift hill, which is the main deviation from a traditional Wacky Worm layout. Up top, you will get close to the ceiling, which is a neat visual, though again, there's not much theming on the walls or ceiling. Up front, you will also get mild laterals here, though you're not going very fast at all. The small dip looks like it might give a small pop of airtime. Up front, this drop does a little as it lightly jostles you around. Still not as good as it looks like it could give you in the forces department, but at least it's something. Near the back, the front of the train is already slowing down going up into the next turnaround, so this drop offers very light forces. You have a bit more speed for this next turnaround, so you will get solid laterals up front, though towards the back you still won't get much at all. Then comes the main reason to ride this coaster, the drop. Despite a rather simplistic looking drop, this offers a very strong pop of ejector airtime, especially if you're more towards the back of the train. For first-time riders, this will certainly catch you off guard as you get a really unique moment on a coaster. With the train doing multiple laps, you get to experience this moment a couple more times, with the added benefit of hoping to take it sideways or even backwards. In my experience, doing so did not greatly affect the drop, as it seemed to be about the same from all angles, whether I was going forwards, backwards, or sideways, which is a bummer as sideways and backwards airtime normally does a bit more for me, even on smaller drops. I'm also not a huge fan of these cars for a strong ejector moment like this. These trains are mainly hard plastic, which is fine for normal spinning, but are not comfortable when you are jerked up and down, as banging your head or body against the car can be a bit painful. Despite this though, this is an enjoyable drop that really helps to carry this coaster. As for the spinning aspect of the coaster, I did not have much luck spinning. Watching the coaster go, some cars seem to spin more than others, though that could just be because of how the weight was distributed in them. The back car did seem to spin a bit more, but again, it seems slightly random as far as how many spins you actually got. Mostly on my rides, I got spinning with the turns, or otherwise slower spins, which is common with these SBF Visa cars. Overall, how good is Barreling Rapids? This coaster offers a promising layout and delivers with decent laterals and a nice ejector pop. But the style of these cars just does not allow me to truly enjoy this coaster as much as I would hope given the otherwise solid elements. Still, I rank it rather highly for a family coaster, coming in just above the neutered Riddler's Mindbender at Six Flags Over Georgia, which likely was a great coaster at one point, but now runs with trim brakes that make it have few, if any, decent coaster moments. And I rank Barreling Rapids right below Roadrunner Express at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. Roadrunner Express is a solid family coaster with a nice setting and decent laterals, but its positive G-forces can hurt my head some, so I'm not as high on this coaster as others might be. How good do you feel the drop is on this coaster? Do you feel the spinning cars help or hurt this coaster? Let me know, and as always, Cup Kun Krap.